we believe in divine intelligence. And so when you say to somebody, what is it that you believe, and you try to start articulating it, it gets lost in the language. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It kind of like, it's like limited by our, not just English language, but any language for that matter. It's this human trying to express what is spirit unexplainable. You know, and the Taoist says that very well. The Tao Te Ching reminds us that, you know, if you think you've named it, you've lost it. So don't even bother to name it. Experience it. And so, at the end of the day, after these discussions, you know, we look out the window and there's this beautiful bunny that just kind of like scampers onto the property, and it's just like, and just stays there, just kind of like looking at us. And it's like, well, that's God. You know, like that's what I believe. You believe in the Easter bunny? No, it's just that when God expresses in that way, manifests in that way, I kind of get it, and it goes beyond words. So I am an animal lover, definitely, you know, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big dog fan, you know, and we have a dog, and her name is Shanti. She's not really Shanti-like, because she's a big lizard hunter, so she's more like, you know, she's got like Shiva energy more than anything, than Shanti energy, but she's this beautiful little Jack Russell who we rescued 5 years ago. And a couple of weeks ago, she got lost. She got out somehow. She got out of the gate. We have a gate enclosed in the front and the back, you know, fence. And she disappeared. And she disappeared. She was gone for 8 hours. So if you have a love of animals, of our fur children, you understand that's devastating, you know. And she was gone. I mean, for all intents and purposes, she was totally gone. And I put up the flyers, and I did all of the work, and I did all of the footwork that you need to do when you know your loved one is missing. You know, so there were wanted posters all over Wilton Manors, and the Wilton Manors police came, and helicopters, you know, they were flying over, and of course my prayers were, you know, intense. And recently I lost my aunt, who was like a mother to me, and I prayed to her, and I asked her to help, you know, please help. And St. Anthony and all the, you know, my old Catholic thoughts come out. I never said anything wrong about the Catholic Church, please, St. Anthony. I so believe, I believe. Oh, Lord, have mercy. So, you know, the bottom line is, after putting up all of the posters and whatnot, and you know, it was hot sun, 8 hours in Florida, you know what it's like to be out and about. And she's not a street dog, you know, she didn't know. She wasn't raised that way. She was, you know, she actually was from a farm in Sarasota. So, you know, like that's her mentality. It's like Kevin. It's like, you know, a farm boy. Sweet, you know, very innocent, like that. So I come back at about 7:45 at night, and it's starting to get dark, and she needs her medicine, and I'm so sad. My heart is just ripped out, and I can't. I don't even, you know, and I just like ask God, like, please, I don't know if I can handle this pain. Like, it's so bad, you know, and, but I will accept. I will accept what the will of the divine is. I will accept it. I surrender to it. And I pull up, and there she is. You know, she's inside the gate. On the porch, not panting, like not a sign, not a scratch, nothing happened. Like nothing happened. And so in thinking about the sermon today, and what I was going to share about, which was really the soul's purpose, what is the soul, and what is the soul's purpose, is that, you know, Shanti had an adventure. She had a story, right? There were scary moments in there. There was fear, I mean, perhaps, maybe instantly, you know, in the beginning, she was like, oh crap, I'm lost. You know, I don't know, maybe she did say that. I don't even know what she was thinking, but, you know, that feeling of loneliness or homesickness or fear, and then adventure, and then, oh, there's a lizard, let me just go chase it, you know? She had a story, you know, but Shanti the dog really was never lost. Was she? I mean, eventually, at the end of the day, she wasn't lost. She was unaffected. She was untouched. She was safe and sound, and she had never really left. Now, I say that mystically and metaphysically, because she did leave. I know she left, because I searched every inch of the property. She wasn't on the property. She wasn't in the house. We don't have a doggy door. I'm talking and I'm suggesting here that we go to a higher level here, a higher significance, a higher interpretation of what happened. So if Shanti is the soul, if Shanti is kind of like what our soul is, we go on adventures. We have a story. We have a dream, right? Which is our life, our embodiment, and our many embodiments if we believe in reincarnation. And I know that this group probably does believe that. Life to life to life. Adventure to adventure to adventure. Story, story, story. And there are times when we feel lost, and there are times when we feel fear, and there are times when we chase lizards, and there are times when we have bliss and excitement and joy and disappointment and homesickness and a crisis of the soul, a dark night of the soul. Beautiful song, the Desert Song. Love it. Perfect, right in line with what I'm saying. Now, you know, when Shanti returned, of course, I went into my human panic mode. I fell apart, hugging her and crying and kissing her, and oh my God, it was just like, what a reunion. And then I went out and I bought an ankle monitor for her. Yeah, that's right. No more freedom for Shanti. A little GPS, and it's called a whistle, and you put it on your phone, and it's a little ankle monitor. It goes on our harness, and you know, and I can track her, and you know, you just have to refresh it, and you know, you put it on. A little picture of her comes up, and it says Shanti Telesco is in the whistle zone. And you know, and then I thought, if Shanti is like our soul, unattached, unaffected, undisturbed, never lost, always home, always own, right? And really is always in the whistle zone, always in the zone. It's when we get caught up in the story, it's when we get caught up in the adventure, right? When we get caught up in the magic carpet of the ego, right? Because the soul takes a ride on this magic carpet, and that carpet is the ego. You see, because our intellect has been veiled by what we know as ignorance. It's been veiled, it's been kidnapped. Have you ever heard the story? I've told it before, Ram and Sita. In the Hindu tradition and the Hindu mythology, we hear about Ram, Lord Rama. Ram was married to Sita. Sita was the love of his life, his beloved, right? And she gets kidnapped by an evil king named Ravana, who kidnaps her, and she's lost. And there's a lot of high drama in that story. Sita is our intellect. Ram is the soul. Our intellect gets kidnapped and taken hostage by ignorance, veiled by Maya. The Bhagavad Gita talks about this. Krishna says, "Oh, my wondrous Maya, how difficult it is to cross you, to cross this ocean of Maya. Maya, illusion, the dream. All we need to do is wake up and know that we are the soul. Nothing is happening to us." But let me just tell you that when you're in it, when you're in the story, when you're in the drama, the trauma, the loneliness, the disappointment, even when you're in the excitement and you get that call, hey, how about this full-time position? Would you like that? For X amount of dollars? It's like, so attached to that, right? To the good, to the bad, to the ugly. We're so attached because we have forgotten, I have forgotten, who I really am, the true nature of the self, which is the soul, untouched, undying, always has been, always will be. This is just one story that we're having. We've had many others. If you've ever had a past life regression, you know. And there's more to come until we wake up. So wake up is the purpose. The purpose is to love, and love the Maya, but don't be attached to the Maya. Love the characters in the Maya, love the characters in the dream, be good and kind to the characters in the dream. I'm so sorry that I yelled at you in the car. I blamed her for me being tardy. So why didn't you tell me that it's time to go? We need to be kind to each other. See, just because we are the soul, unaffected, undying, unchanged, and we're always home, and we're always in the whistle zone when we remember that, that doesn't give us permission to not care about our life. That doesn't give us permission to not work on ourselves and our personalities. But the message here is to not get so caught up in the story. Don't get caught up in the trauma, in the drama, in the passion. Don't get so caught up in that, in the adventure. Because nothing really happened. It's almost like going to the movies, or we don't even have to go to the movies. We have the image right here. Glenn has his computer, and on his computer is this information. And then it gets projected onto the screen. So if I want to take this home, I want to take the content home, I can't walk up here and start grabbing the letters. Because it's not real. The only thing that's real is the screen. The only thing that's real is the screen. The screen is my soul. The mind is the projection. We project our mind. We make our world. We are the architects of our own destiny because it depends on how we view it. It depends on how our perspective is or what our perspective is. So I can change my perspective. I can change my attitude just like that because the screen is unaffected. It's what I'm projecting onto it. Does that make sense? So then what happens? How do we wake up? I think we wake up when we have the desert experience. I think we wake up when we have the Garden of Gethsemane experience. Jesus showed us that. He's in the garden. He's beyond despair. And he even says, please let it not be true. Please let it not be true. Let this cup pass from me. But then he says, I accept. I accept what is. And then, of course, the Garden of Gethsemane turns into the crucifixion that turns into the resurrection, which turns into the ascension. It's the waking up. But you have to have the Garden of Gethsemane first. You have to have the dark night of the soul first. The Sufis talk about this as Tauba, the turning of the heart. Tauba, T-A-U-B-A. God, infinite force, love, light, intelligence, the presence, all that is, turns our Anahata chakra wide open during the dark nights of the soul, during the moments when we feel homesick. I'm lost. I'm away from home. I'm in fear. I feel empty inside. I'm stuck in my story. And so then, divine intelligence, which is so intelligent, turns us, shakes us, so that the ground underneath us moves. And we wake up, because it's a jolt. It's a watershed experience. I just learned this over the weekend, watershed. How many of you know what that is? Oh, really? I love you guys. Because when it was said to me, I was like, I don't know what that means, but I won't ask. But then later on, he kept on referring to it. I was like, I know I'm a PhD, but it's in social work, so I don't know. What is a watershed? What is a watershed? And he explained to me that what a watershed experience is when an event or a period that marks a turning point in a course of action or a state of affairs. And it's based on the notion that there's an area or ridge of land that separates water flowing in one direction or another. And he says in the Continental Divide there are spots like this, and one of them is in the Mississippi, I think, valley or area. It's probably not true. I have no idea. Look it up. I don't know. Forget the Mississippi part. I was on a roll, but I just now went off. I went off book, and that was not good, so forget it. I don't think it's Mississippi. Don't take my word for it, but watershed is definitely a bridge where the earth has the water coming, and then it can shift to the left or to the right. So these watershed moments for us are the shaking of our spirit. It's actually the magic carpet that goes, "Gutish," and knocks you off. Get off this carpet of Maya. Get off the adventure. Get off the story. Stop being so attached to the characters in this drama. And remember that you are the soul. So I want to end with this. Remember I talked about Ram and Sita, right? Well, here's the hero. One of the heroes of the story is Hanuman. Hanumanji. He is a monkey. He's a monkey god. And it starts out where he's like, "Oh no, did you hear the news? Sita's been kidnapped. What are we going to do?" And Jambavan, which is this bear, is his guru, is his teacher, is his spiritual director, is his guide, says to him, "Hanuman, snap out of it. What's the matter with you? Don't you know who you are? You're Hanuman." And he remembers. He starts to remember. He says, "You are the son of Vayu, the wind god. You can do anything." So Hanuman gets up and he takes his Gada, G-A-D-A, his mace, which is this beautiful weapon. It's got a handle and a big, giant, round, end to it. And what it does is it strikes the enemy. It strikes the opponent. And he takes that in his hand, and he's able to move mountains. And he is the one who helps rescue Sita. And in India, there is a practice, a martial art called Gada Yuddha. Y-U-D-D-A-H. Gada Yuddha. And I thought, wow, that sounds like Italian. Ayuda, which means help. So how do I wake up? How do I get off this magic carpet of Maya, right? How do I remember that I am divine intelligence? How do I remember that I am that? I am that. I am that soul. I am in the whistle zone, always. I'm never lost. How do I remember that? The Gada, the practice of this, Hanuman's weapon, is to strike the opponent of the ego. Strike the ego. How do I do that? Japa, meditation. Japa is also, doing your mala beads, chanting the divine name. Kirtan, for me it's my music. For me it's the music of chanting divine name through my music. It's my connection. It's my Gada. Gotta have it. It's my weapon against the ego. Meditation, coming to worship, because Hanuman also represents not only pranayama, the breath. Pranayama, he's the son of the wind god. So breath, going to the breath, doing breath work, but also bhakti yoga, which is worship. Worship. And worshiping and being aware of God in everything, not just the church, not just once a week. And service, being of service. You really believe in this place? You really believe in Metaphysical Chapel? Then don't just come here 1 hour out of 7 days a week. Be a part of, an integral part of. It's important that you're here. It's important that I'm here. But be of service. Really engage your Gada, your weapon against the ego. And finally, when I think I'm lost, I've never gone anywhere. The soul is always home.